Hey there, folks. It's your buddy Mike Messier, and here I am live streaming. I just saw Madam Web tonight. I know the movie's been out for a week or so, and for whatever reason, this movie is getting a lot of hate or a lot of cynicism. People saying it's the end of Marvel Comics universe, and this is the signal that we're getting tired of Marvel movies or superhero movies. I'm not really sure what's going on here, folks, because I saw this movie tonight. I thought it was fine. I thought it was good, actually. I enjoyed it more than most of these cinematic Marvel Universe movies or DC movies or any type of superhero movie. I mean, I slept through most of Black Adam. The Eternals over the summer was horrible. I slept through as much of that as I could. But this one I thought was really good. I mean, I guess I remember now. What was the one with Scarlett Johansson? Um, I'm drawing a blank on the name of it, but that was pretty good too. I think it began with a W, didn't it? Um, and she ended up suing the studio or whatever because she didn't feel that she was getting as much money because the pandemic made that movie mostly be streamed instead of in the theater. But I did see it in the theater, the Johansson one. But let's get back to this one. I'm not sure what people are having an issue with. I mean, I will say this. I was promptly on time for this film. I was in the theater just at the right time. And so that was good. That helped me out. There wasn't a lot of people in the theater tonight. This was a Monday night at a pretty suburban movie theater. So there wasn't going to be a big crowd. I mean, I think everyone that demanded to see this movie the first week or the first weekend has already seen it. So I'm getting, kind of the leftovers. But the screen was nice that I saw it on. It wasn't advertised as a Dolby Digital screen or an IMAX screen. It was just a nice regular screen in a regular auditorium. But in this particular theater, I've learned that their regular auditoriums, although not advertised as IMAX or 4D or whatever, these are pretty good in this particular auditorium that I was in. So I enjoyed it. What else? I mean, I thought the storyline. Well, first of all, I'm a Dakota Johnson fan. She is the lady that we saw a whole lot of, so to speak, in the Fifty Shades of Grey movies. She's that girl, basically, and she's done other stuff. I'm sure she's done other big things that I'm not aware of, but I think she's done pretty well for herself. I mean, someone who is the daughter of Don Johnson and Melanie Griffin, she's done her own thing. And I mean, I guess by box office standards, she's probably far surpassed both of her parents. I mean, both of her parents had big careers. Melanie Griffin was a huge movie star in the 80s and 90s for a while. And Don Johnson was mostly known for his TV work on Miami Vice. But their daughter, I mean, she's done these big, 50 Shades of Grey. That was like her first big thing. And now this one. And I'm sure she's done other stuff that I can't remember off the top of my head. She was in that movie. What was it? The Peanut Butter Falcon? Wasn't she like the love interest, the guidance counselor lady? My buddy Court Fisk, actually, I'll thank him. He sent me the script to that movie. I guess now I have to read it. But I did see the movie Peanut Butter Falcon. I think I reviewed that one. That's a good movie that Dakota Johnson is in. So here she is in this. I think maybe some of the hate for this movie is at the end. I can see where some people might be a little off put by some of the dramatic acting that Dakota Johnson's doing, kind of like in the final confrontation scene. Spoiler, by the way. There's a scene where they're fighting underneath the Pepsi sign. Maybe that's another thing that people got pissed off about. Was there's clearly a sponsorship movie tie-in with Pepsi Cola in this particular movie. We see Dakota's character, before she's Madam Web, she's drinking a Pepsi at the outdoor barbecue in New York City. She's passing on alcohol to drink a Pepsi Cola. It's quite obvious. And then we see the Pepsi, returned later on when a Pepsi sign is basically the way that the bad guy gets killed. So yeah, maybe people didn't like that. What else did people not like about this film? I don't know. If you're not a Beyonce fan, there was certainly within 10 minutes, there was two references in the background to Beyonce Knowles. You see a magazine cover. I don't know if it was Variety. I don't think it was Variety. Variety was another one, but there's Beyonce on the cover of Us Weekly or People or something, and then an advertisement for her Dangerously in Love album. I found it interesting that the two timetables in this movie, the two time references, were 1973 in the middle of the woods in the non-United States country. I won't say a foreign country because the people that live in that country, it's not foreign to them, is it? But 30 years later, it's 2003. We're in New York City, where most of this movie takes place. I found that to be interesting as well, because if the movie, this one, takes place in 2023, then I would have to guess that we're setting this thing up for a sequel. Obviously, it's set up for sequels that I would assume take place 5 or 10 years later. And that's kind of an interesting thing here. Maybe people didn't like the fact that this movie clearly is setting up a couple of sequels, at least in theory. Um, and I don't know. I really don't see what's wrong with this movie. I mean, I don't see, if you're going to compare this one to some of the other crap that people have sat through, like I said, Black Adam was bad. Eternals was bad. All the ones with all the X-Men's and all the thises and the that's and all these groups, I get confused. There's 5 different Supermen. There's 3 different Hulks. I can't keep them all under a fucking file, folks, in my mind. And I don't really want to. When I go see these superhero movies, the way that I see it is I don't want to be a super fan. I don't want to worry about some goddamn universe. I want to see a movie that's going to hold my interest and self-contained. Okay, and I know that that's against the whole marketing of all these fucking things. I'm going to look up the Scarlett Johansson. What was her fucking superhero movie? Black Widow. I didn't even have to see it. I knew it as soon as I fucking pushed enter. I figured it out. By the way, if you are watching this, it's I guess it's Tuesday morning, the 27th of 2024. It's kind of an interesting date, 227. That was a nice TV show if you ever watched it. 227 2024. Maybe we'll make this International Marla Gibbs Day. How about that? It's 227. So whatever. I don't know if people do that. Is that a thing? Do people make 227 memes of Marla Gibbs and Mary? That was Jack Hayes' character who always said Mary. Okay, so let's go back to this goddamn film. Why did I like it so much? I don't know. I mean, I think Dakota Johnson is obviously easy on the eyes. I think she's a great actress. I think in this movie, as opposed to other movies where we see some of the posturing, is what I would call it. That's why I had no interest in seeing the Aquaman film. I feel that, whatever his name is, Jason Momoa, I feel like he postures. I think a lot of actors are posturers. I think Dakota Johnson is not. I think she's a straight actress. Like, she plays it straight. There is some humorous moments, some levity, as they say. I did feel like the end of the movie, once again, after the big fight scene, where apparently she's blinded or she has these special glasses on, that got to be a little hokey. Like, she's suddenly, I mean, I guess she got paralyzed in the big fight at the end, and she's sitting in like this super jacked wheelchair type of thing, and she's kind of giving her little harem of witches some forecasts for their future or whatnot, and she seems to be very happy that she's paralyzed and they're going to live her life vicariously. And so now she's like the pimp in the box. She's going to send these little chicks out to fight crime and stuff. So she seemed quite happy about it. And like I said, that's setting up sequels, and Sydney Sweeney, I thought that was kind of interesting as far as casting. I mean, I really didn't even know who she was until about 4 or 5 months ago when I saw her, rom-com, Only You or Anyone But You, whatever the fuck it was. But I'm learning now that she's like a big deal. She's, in this HBO show that I haven't watched where she's a high school sexual being and all this good stuff. She definitely has a face, she has a kind of essence as an actress where, it basically looks like she's about to have sex at any given time. I mean, that's just the vibe she puts off to me. Maybe I'm misogynistic and so forth, but she seems to play into that. There have been rumors that she's had some, surgeries to enhance certain parts of her anatomy. But in any event, she always looks good in this movie. Oddly enough, she's probably 26, 27 when they filmed this movie, but they're having her play basically a 17 or an 18-year-old high school kid, which was a little bit weird. I can see why they wanted to do that. They obviously want to shoehorn her into the franchise. it just seemed to me like that was her biggest acting accomplishment in this film, was trying to play like a nerdy, of the three little harem girls, the three little, spider women to be. She's the nerdy one. It's going against type. Um, I didn't quite think she. I mean, I think it's just hard because I think she's a. We've seen her, or at least now I have, in all these kind of movies where she's the sex kitten or the aggressor, and she's playing a woman in her 20s and everything that I've seen her in, because I haven't seen that series on HBO where she's this high school girl. So for me, it's hard to kind of see her now as playing a character in her teens. It just doesn't feel right, and it feels like a shoehorn thing because if you were going to have her in this movie playing her actual age, she would be Madam Web. Uh, but they want the two big stars. They want both Sydney Sweeney and Dakota. So a Dakota probably is a legitimate 5 to 10 years older than her in real life, maybe even 15. I don't know how old these people are, but to me, it was just a deal where, okay, we'll go with it because Sydney Sweeney's a big star and they want to get her in this franchise, and that's what you do. The other two actresses in that little trio I had never seen before. They were fine. They were good. Um, I guess if there are sequels to this movie, we'll be seeing more of them. I had no problem with either one of them. I guess we could say that we were spared of Rachel. What's her name? Rachel Zegler, the one with all the controversy about the Snow White. Is that her? Rachel something or other? See, I'm getting all these names now. I'm learning all these people that I don't give a shit about, so I can do these better reviews. But I mean, for my money, this film was fine. I thought it was good. I was entertained. I do not. Once again, I don't know what people are bitching and complaining about. I have to start thinking that, is it just a matter of who the marketing teams are that are putting out these notices? Who makes all these goddamn decisions if a movie's good or not? Same thing with Indiana Jones, like the Indiana Jones sequel last summer. I actually was pretty fine with it. I mean, yeah, there was some stuff where it was a little depressing, like Indiana Jones himself was kind of depressing in that movie. But I thought overall the movie was good. And then I go, home and watch some YouTube reviews, and everyone's shitting all over it, telling me how horrible it is. And I'm like, okay, well, assholes, I kind of enjoyed it. Let's talk about something else. I did see a movie last night, which I didn't do a Mike's Instant movie review. I felt kind of in an awkward position. I went to see this movie, Out of Darkness. This was on Sunday night. Looks like there's a critic or a friend here. Yo, Mikey, I want to see Imaginary. This is a horror film, bro, that's coming out soon. I think this is another one of those imaginary friend type of things. We did see, what was the movie with the doll, the female doll with the dance, Megan. So that was a big deal. I'm sure that Megan 2 will be out before we know it. And or did Megan 2 already come out? I can't even I can't get them all mixed up, but I think Megan 2 hasn't come out yet, but I'm sure it's going to be. And I'm thinking Imaginary will be good. And my buddy here, Michael AJ Norris, is also telling me that Labyrinth is having a re-release, and I have seen signs to that regard, buddy. And I will actually be, I guess I have somewhat of a big weekend this weekend because I'll be going, not that this is not going to be a wrestling podcast, Michael, but I will be going to see an NXT live show, I believe, on Saturday night. And then Sunday is the big pay-per-view, right, for Sting's last match. So I'll have to figure out where I'm going to watch that. Hopefully a movie theater around here will have it on the big screen, and I'll go there. Hold on. I'm drinking this light orange juice. That's my new gimmick. It's half the sugar of traditional orange juice. What else, guys? Oh, the movie I saw last night, Out of Darkness. Basically, I get into the theater. It's a Sunday night. I'm predicting that I'm going to be the only person in the auditorium. I was wrong. There was a family of, shall we say, urban teenagers and maybe an older brother or two or a date or something, but basically a very chatty group. And the movie is not in English. It's subtitled, but it's not even a foreign language. It's like a made-up caveman language. And I have to say that I guess this is what I've been asking for, because I've been complaining in a couple of my Mike's Instant movie reviews of films that take place in different lands. For instance, Adam Driver was in some type of weird prehistoric kind of dinosaur movie and another universe thing last summer. And my complaint was, well, if he's in a different universe, how come he's speaking American English, circa 2023, and he's wearing what looks to be an LL Bean shirt? Like, so he happens to be in the other universe where they speak American English circa 2023, our time, and they wear LL Bean shirts on the beach. And then he chases around with dinosaurs. So I guess with this one, Out of Darkness, they have this made up language, and I had to give the credit to the actors. I mean, they pulled it off. I mean, I don't know if they actually had a script with these weird grunts and groans stuff. Um, let's check this out, buddy. Mikey, I bought a 4K Roaring 20s. Oh, so a new TV set. Roaring 20s first time viewed James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart in it. Say it, best gangster film of all time. Is that is the movie titled The Roaring 20s? Yeah, let me know if the movie is titled Roaring 20s, buddy, because I don't know. I'm not familiar with that title. And I didn't know that James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart, which I'm familiar with both of those guys. The African Queen film on the boat I saw on the big screen a year or two ago. Okay, man, I'll put this in the mix. I guess there's so much stuff, buddy, that I gotta watch. I remember that I have the Disney app, the Disney Plus app, and I've never, I've barely watched anything on it. So I know that the Mandalorian, which I hate that title, by the way, but I've heard good things about it. I'll have to watch that. Right now, I'm on a big kick with 90 Day Fiance. That's kind of my background show of choice. As far as wrestling tonight, buddy, I know that Monday Night Raw happened. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I was at the movies. So whatever happened with WWE, I'm sure that it's something that happened. But I just don't know what it is. Because, I made a point when I came home just now. Like, let me do this Mike's Instant movie review first. I don't want my head polluted with all the outside influences. I'm sure that YouTube and Twitter and X and all this crap, there's something going on in the world that is going to make me stay up at night if I give a shit about it or not. So I just figured, let me do the Mike's Instant movie review. So the Out of Darkness thing last night, like I said, it was pretty awkward, to be honest with you, because back in the day, I probably would have told these people to shut the fuck up in the theater. But I just realized, like, look, people are going to the movies. That's good. I'm in the film industry. If these fine folks feel the need to chat and giggle and laugh and all this horse shit, let them do their thing. I really wasn't into this movie very much anyway, this Out of Darkness thing. Plus, I can't really have a complaint that they're, making me miss the dialogue, because the dialogue's not in English anyway. There was subtitled. Buddy, I've never seen this one. This is one of those movies, I think, I want to say 98, because I know it was after the Titanic film. And I'm very familiar with what you're talking about, because this is like a legendary story of the Man in the Iron Mask. I think it's like a guy who has his brother put in an iron mask. And I think I read a graphic novel adaptation of this story, believe it or not. I know I did, because I ordered like this set of books from eBay that were like the classics in like a little kind of half-assed comic book. Not half-assed. They were good. I still have them, actually. And I read over a bunch of this stuff, like The Time Machine and all this other stuff. And The Man in the Iron Mask was one of them. I haven't seen that one either, buddy. So now here's another movie I got to watch. And like I said with my Bob Marley review last week from Austin, Texas, for whatever reason, a lot of people are watching that video of me reviewing the Bob Marley One Love movie. I said, hey, folks, do you have a recommendation for some Bob Marley documentary I can watch to get the full story? And somebody kindly enough recommended it. I think it's just called Marley. And of course, that's another thing that I have to watch. So I just have to be like Madam Web and duplicate myself. And one asshole Mike can watch all these movies. The other asshole Mike can listen to all this music I've bought and never listened to. The other one can do all these podcasts for you fine folks. And the other one can watch wrestling all day and night. So, I mean, I just have to divide myself like Madam Web. Yeah, that was kind of interesting too. This superpower, I took a little bathroom break during this film. And when I got back, it seemed like the big exposition of Madam Web was revealed suddenly. And she's in this fucking lake with this fucking weird kind of character, like one of these Spider-Man fucks. It's kind of interesting. Like, one of them, like, basically was her mother's gynecologist or birth doctor, whatever the fuck that's called, pediatrician or obstetrician or whatever they call these things. Mikey, do movies have to have TV series? Will it ruin the movie version or help it? All right, you got me on a side topic here, pal. Uh, I don't think they have to. I think, let's be honest, pal. What they're really looking to do is just tap into an audience. And people complain or they question, why are there so many Marvel comic universes, or why does this TV show have this sequel? Well, we complain about it, but then we support these things. And the reality is, it's basically a marketing ploy. And I don't even think it's that evil or disingenuous or whatever. It's just that it's so hard to get attention. It's so hard to get an audience for anything. I mean, I'm sitting here, buddy, and I'm writing wonderful books, and people aren't buying them every day of the week. But if I had, a picture of Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts and me on the cover of this book, they would probably buy it, right? So the point is, with marketing, if you have already got a built-in audience, say you've built up a bunch of people who are familiar with the Spider-Man comic book, and then you make a TV series. Well, you would hope that a certain percentage of the comic book fans watch the TV series, and then 10, 15, 20 years later or 5 years later, hey, let's see if this TV series can help promote a feature film. Okay, it did. Well, the feature film has to have a soundtrack and a bunch of t-shirts and so on and so forth. So I think it's just brand identification. And look, branding is something that I try to stay away from as an artiste. I just find it to be what's the word? Limiting. Okay, like, and people try to cram that branding down my ass for 20 years, and I don't like that. I mean, I want to do what I want to do. If I want to write a comedy, I'll write a comedy. If I want to write a horror, I'll write a horror. So, but these big companies don't think like your buddy Mike Messier. They're looking to maximize their money, and one thing they do with that is branding, and so on and so forth. This cat it's causing a weird thing with my hair. Okay. So anyway, I don't know. I'm not terribly opposed to people trying to make a buck, and it's name identification. You know what I mean? And apparently, this Madam Web thing is loosely based on whatever the source material is, and there was another thing with this movie, Madam Web, Peter Parker. So there's a Ben Parker in this movie, which is Madam Web's, like, her day job's partner, and they're ambulance people, and you keep thinking they have a romance, but apparently they don't, because he's happily married. So these characters, are they the Uncle Ben and Uncle May of Peter Parker? Are these the ones that raised Peter? No, they're not a couple. That's right. It's the guy and his sister. It's Ben Parker and his sister are in Madam Web, and the husband is off doing whatever the fuck. So what's going on here? I mean, and if this movie's taking place in 2003, well, Spider-Man is not being born in 2003, not in this universe. And that's where we get into this whole horse shit with Marvel fucking multiverses and all this horse shit, which is basically a way for them to make all these movies, get people all excited, get them confused, and so on and so forth. Mikey, comedy movies are dying. Horror and action make money. Well, let's get into that, buddy. And I know the answer to this. Why are comedy movies? Why do we see less comedies? First of all, with all the political correctness, which is a term that's been going on for 30 years. I mean, Bill Maher had a fucking TV show in the 90s called Politically Correct, or Politically Incorrect, I should say, which was a take on the term political correctness. And that's going back 30 years. So, but now it's like what I call hashtag someone into oblivion, cancel culture, all these wonderful things. And so I think people are afraid to make comedies because, you can make some joke. And how do you have any jokes if you're not going to offend somebody or make fun of somebody? And I've done I've done a few stand-up comedy shows, a few open mics and so forth. And it's hard. I mean, if you're trying to make people laugh, we're all a bunch of assholes is what it comes down to. So if you're going to make people laugh, there has to be a butt of the joke. You know what I mean? I mean, otherwise, what the fuck? I mean, you could do G-rated comedy or PG-rated comedy, but that's typically not very funny. So I think even shows like, and it's wonder because sometimes, Mike, there are exceptions. Seinfeld is an exception. Curb Your Enthusiasm in modern times. They do a lot of stuff that it's like, well, how they get away with that? Or, there's a whole big thing on Facebook, at least on my Facebook now, that comes up. I can't believe Family Guy said that. So there's like kind of these grandfathered shows or traditions. Like, okay, well, Family Guy is it's a cartoon. It's been on forever, so that can do what it wants. Or Curb Your Enthusiasm. Well, that's just Larry David. He's so funny. He can do what he wants. It's kind of like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's a convicted sex offender. Okay. But, we'll put him in The Hangover because certain people, for whatever reason, are exceptions to the cancel culture rule. And basically, if we like you enough, you're okay. And I mean, who the fuck knows? So, I mean, it's just interesting to me. What else? So I did see, I don't know if AJ, if you saw Night Swim, if you saw that one, that's a horror film that's out now. Oh, okay. Let me go back to your comedy thing and horror. Horror, I think it just has such a strong audience, buddy. So many people, especially teenagers on the weekends, go to the horror movies. The horror movies don't even have to be that good, and people like to go see them. I mean, there's a thing. I knew people in the day, buddy. I had friends that like to sit around and watch bad movies. So they would get together and they'd put a bad movie in and they'd sit around in their living room and talk about it. I don't like that. Like, if I'm going to put 2 hours into a movie or even 90 minutes, I want it to be somewhat good. So I'm not really someone that's going to sit there and watch the bad cinema just to make fun of it. Back in the day, Blockbuster Video used to have a section called La Bad Cinema, and it was just, there's a niche for that. I'm not particularly interested in it, but there's a lot of people that are, and that's why something. What's that movie? Hey Mark, that one that they're making fun of, the rehearsal or some such thing. That's like a cult favorite for that type of deal. Mikey, beat horror movie I have in my collection is The Hitchhiker, C. Thomas Howell, and Rutger Hauer. Rutger Hauer. Yeah, R.I.P. I think I have seen that one, buddy, but it's been so long. I do remember. I thought it was. Is it The Hitcher or The Hitchhiker? But I know what you're talking about. C. Thomas Howell. Here's an example. The movie Soul Man. I mean, Soul Man, I find to be a funny movie. But a lot of people find it offensive, and they find the very premise of Soul Man, starring C. Thomas Howell, to be offensive. Ray Don Chong is the romantic lead. That's the daughter of Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong. You had some other really good actors in that movie. I'm trying to remember who the fuck they were. But C. Thomas Howell plays a kid who is from the rich side of the tracks, and then his parents give him an unexpected treat. They're going to allow him the honor of paying his own way through college, and I want to say it's Harvard that he goes to in Boston, which is basically known as a racist town. And despite everyone in Boston thinking that it's not a racist town, guess what? It is. So I mean, C. Thomas Howell as Soul Man, he dyes his skin darker with all these. He takes an overdose of tanning pills. He dyes his hair really black. He puts like a Jerry curl into his hair, and suddenly he's African American in 1986. And this movie at the time was not very popular. It's not like this movie was a big happy hit in 1986 either, folks. It was kind of condemned at the time. Spike Lee, I think, even went on the Donahue show to condemn this film. I like it. What can I fucking tell you? I thought the movie had a good heart. It had a good message, and there's some comedy in there and some stereotypes that they kind of turn upside down and so forth. And shades of gray and shades of pink. I mean, there's just some funny stuff in that movie, but people crucify it. So what can I tell you? So basically, the reason why you can't make a good comedy these days, buddy, is because people don't share a sense of humor. You have all these different generations. I ended up talking to a Dunkin' Donuts cashier tonight who told me that she has 4 kids and they're all screwed up. They're all in their teens. And these kids that she has, this Dunkin' Donuts cashier person I talked to, she's telling me that the male children that she has in her home, they don't even enjoy living life. Like they just show up, and their attitude about everything is, well, I'm here. I don't want to kill myself, but maybe I do, so it's kind of depressing, buddy. And I asked her, look, do your kids want to drive cars? Because that's been a new thing, pal, where like teenagers are not looking to get their driver's license when they turn 16. Like back in my day, we used to get all excited if we were 15 and 8 months. We wanted to be at the fucking DMV that day. When we turned 16, you wanted to go to the DMV on your fucking birthday to get a license. And these people, these young children, I should say, for whatever reason, they're afraid to drive. And yeah, driving kind of sucks if you get into a car accident and die, but for the most part, it's pretty good. Here's a movie I like. Crap on it. Jennifer's Body, Megan Fox and Amanda Siegfried. It's a horror movie. It's the first movie starring Megan Fox. If you've never seen it, you know what, buddy? I don't think I have seen it. But maybe I have because I remember that this is a big deal movie. I can't remember it off the top. I know what it's a kind of a dark thing. The Megan Fox character, I think she's the victim of, once again, an assault from a bunch of creepy dudes, and then she comes back and exacts revenge. I'm kind of not sure if I've seen it or not. I want to say that I haven't, but I'm familiar with it because I've read about it. How's that for a wavering answer? I definitely have or haven't seen it. How about that? But yeah, I'll put that on the list of all these things I have to do now, buddy, between watching season 9 of 90 Day Fiance. So, what did I think of this Out of Darkness thing? Getting back to that story, I thought it was okay. I mean, I kind of was dozing off. And like I said, I was trapped in this awkward situation. Here I am with these talking folks. Basically, like everyone in the theater, there's like 15 people in the theater, last night to see Out of Darkness. And I'm the only person that's not in their group that are all talking and chatting and giggling and laughing. And am I supposed to be the guy that tells these other assholes to shut up? No, I wasn't. I just went with it. And I didn't even want to leave my seat to use the facilities because I didn't want them to throw popcorn at me or say, hey, what are you offended that we're talking during the movie? So I just sat there and took one for the team. Okay. That's the type of person I am these days. I did go into Night Swim. I figured that the theater owed me a movie, quite honestly, last night. So I let myself into Night Swim, which I'd already seen. And I watched it for the second time. I think I liked it better the second time around because the second time I saw Night Swim, I did not feel that it was as goofy and weird as the first time I saw it. The first time I saw Night Swim, I was kind of like, hey, there's really no antagonist in this thing except the swimming pool is haunted. But looking back now and seeing Night Swim again, it is kind of a cool movie because like they basically personify a swimming pool into this evil kind of labyrinth of a land, and that the swimming pool demands, which basically the pool is on the sacred ground of some wishing lake or some such thing, and it's like the water demands a sacrifice in order for someone else to get well. So I thought it's kind of an interesting concept. I mean, it's bizarre, but that's why we watch movies, because we want to see weird shit. And so the poor father is the sacrificial lamb for this family. So I mean, I thought it was good. I thought Night Swim is a good movie. It's I don't know if they make a sequel out of that, but I mean, I thought that it shows how less valuable male lives are. Hashtag male lives matter. But the father, takes one for the team and so forth. Mikey, the Expendables 4 wasn't bad. Was it great? No, but I enjoyed it at the last one. Man, I didn't see that one. I didn't see Expendables 4, and here's why, pal. I've gone to see the first three Expendables. I think I've dozed off in all three. Uh, I haven't really liked any of them. I keep going back, hoping that I'll like it. I think there's been moments where I liked it. I think the second one, I really liked Dolph Lundgren a lot in the second one, in the second Expendables, if that's the one I'm thinking of. Maybe it was the first. And in one of the Expendables, there's a scene, I think, with Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sylvester Stallone all together, kind of the Planet Hollywood guys. That was really kind of an awesome scene to see those three dudes on the screen together, which we'll never see again. Unfortunately, Bruce Willis is not doing well. I've also heard that Ole Anderson, the wrestler, has passed away. So there will be a very special tribute to him on One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan channel. If you happen to be hearing this or seeing this and you're saying, gee whiz, Mike, what is this? This is One Mike Messier, where I do my Mike's Instant Movie reviews. I do my other videos, my life rants. And over on the other channels, One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan is where I do my pro wrestling and sports fan stuff. And on One Man and a Camera Films, you see my work a lot of times with my buddy Tim Labonte. We have a bunch of films on there, and my TV show, Messier Mantra, has a wonderful stuff over there. Okay, good lord, I was on Amazon Prime Video or buy or rent movie Horror Hubcap. It's a sequel from Rubber, Good Lord, and Attack of the Killer Donuts. Are we that bored to watch films like these? That's funny, buddy. Hey, look, go over to One Man and a Camera Films. Watch Blood Sugar Sedase. Watch Disregard the Vampire Mike Messier documentary. Watch Messier Mantra. I've got basically 200 episodes of that thing over there. And One Man and a Camera Films, buddy. So I mean, there's so much better entertainment. I mean, I like I said, I forgot that I even had the fucking Disney app, the Disney Plus app. I'm maximizing my Max. Paramount I had for a while, but I just felt like I couldn't. There was just too much stuff, man. And that's why I'm not that concerned that I'm not seeing the weekly AEW Dynamites or the weekly Raws, because there's so much goddamn content out there. Content. Streaming. There's so much shit out there, buddy. I'm making my own stuff. I'm selling books. I'm writing wonderful novels for everyone to enjoy. So it's just time. I mean, if that's the next frontier, man, is like time multipliers. Like whoever comes up with that, where you can like create a vortex where you enter into a system or a universe where you can kind of like hang out and time doesn't progress. I mean, that would be huge, man. That would be big money. I'm just coming up with this now. But if we could invent a thing where you basically pause yourself from advancing in time, and you can just go around and like do whatever the fuck you want. You can put your TV, like you'd have to still have electricity and everything working, but you can put your TV on, or you can read a book, and you can basically pause your surroundings, and you can do something individually without. But the catch is you can't affect anybody else. Like you can't, like some of this, some of these videos that I've heard about, these adult website videos that I've heard about, you can't pause people and remove their clothes and throw them out in the street or anything. But what you can do is like read a book, nice things like that. Mikey, do you remember No Holds Barred with Hogan and Zeus? Did you like the film? I did. I mean, I don't love it. I think that one thing, I mean, I can say about No Holds Barred that I didn't like off the top of my head is the Dookie stuff. Like basically they're talking about, human excrement. I'm not a fan of bathroom humor. I mean, once in a while if it's really funny, but I think there's a scene where like Hogan's character of Rip, he's got some guy like, what's that smell? Dookie. It's like a really horrible, god awful scene. I think it's been memed. Um, but the rest of the movie, I think like the stuff with Stan Hansen at the beginning, where he's in the fight scene, and they got Zeus as kind of this pit fighter. Oddly enough, I mean, it's kind of like a predecessor to MMA. If you think about it, like Zeus is kind of coming from this pit fighter world, Kimbo Slice type of world. Then they manufacture this like shoot fight show around him, right? If I'm remembering this stuff. And then you got the WWF kind of parallel universe of Rip instead of Hulk Hogan, and he's fighting the unmasked masked superstar, or Bill Eadie of Demolition fame. And then you build up to like this intergender, or not intergender, but interpromotional battle between the pit fighter, like the street fighter, kind of the predecessor to MMA, and the wrestler. And we know what happens next. So I do like the movie to some extent, but I don't think it's a perfect or a great movie. I do think, was it Joan Severance is in that movie? She looks good in that. Mikey, favorite movie I can watch all time, Empire Records, and I never get tired of seeing this. I believe Liv Tyler is in that one, and there's a bunch of people in Empire Records. It's kind of an ensemble piece, kind of like a Dazed and Confused. I want to say 93, 94. It's a movie that, and that's, the stuff that you see on Empire Records of the local record store, kind of a thing in the past. I mean, there's still some that are holding on. But yeah, I mean, it's a good movie, buddy. I mean, I'm glad you like it. I just remember Liv Tyler being in it. I don't think it's my favorite all time movie, but no judgment. I'm glad you like it, buddy. So, folks, what else can I say? So, what am I giving these star ratings to? Madam Web, fuck it. I want to give it a nice big 4 stars. The world can go fuck off. I thought it was fun. Maybe I mean, it's not really a 4-star thing. I'm going to give it a nice thing. I'm going to give it like 3 3/4. I'm going to say, just to balance out some of these assholes that are shitting all over it. I think it was pretty good. Yep, I got that, buddy. So I think 3 3/4 from Adam Webb, and a little high. I mean, but I don't know. I liked it. What the fuck? And what else? I don't know. I just thought it was good. Uh, Out of Darkness, I almost have to give it an incomplete. I mean, I'd probably give that 2.5. But the movie was ruined for me by the audience. To be quite honest with you, these people, they want to talk, they want to giggle, and no consideration for me. But that's fine. Poltergeist is a scary movie, and Pool seemed really scary. It had real dead body. I was freaking out when I found out about it in Curse movie. I didn't know that Poltergeist had a real dead body. I mean, I remember watching the True Hollywood story of the Curse of Poltergeist. I don't quite remember the real dead body stuff. I know that the older sister in that film, that's very attractive actress, she died young, I think, which is sad. And Heather Rourke, I think, was the there here. I think she died young. I think the Craig T. Nielsen played the father, right? And I think he's still alive, so I guess he survived the curse. And is it Joe Beth Williams that played the mother? Look, buddy, I'm not googling. This is all up here. So I don't know. Was it Joe Beth Williams and fucking Craig T. Nielsen that played the parents? And I think the older sister died. I think the Heather Rourke, the youngest child, died. I mean, everybody dies eventually. I was talking to some person, and we were discussing the Clinton family, the Clinton couple, and how all their friends have died young. But somebody made a good point about that. Like, look, if you look at two people who know thousands of people, because it's the president and the first lady and the whatever the hell she was, the senator of New York, and then 25 years later, oh my God, all these people they knew were dead. Well, statistically, if you're the president of the United States and the first lady, you're going to know 100 times more people than the rest of us. You're shaking hands, you're meeting all these assholes. So yes, some of the stuff, the people that are associated with them, the Vince Fosters and so forth, they're dying in controversial ways. So that does raise your eyebrow. However, people always die. Right now, someone just died. Oh, are we going to stop what we're doing and have a goddamn tribute parade? I don't know. I mean, I hope when I die, buddy, enough people care that I get a T-shirt. I want my T-shirt. I want my face on a bunch of T-shirts the day after I'm dead. They get printed for like $20 a shot. Okay, buddy. So I think that's about it. Like I said, pal, if you're bored, go over to One Man in the Camera Films. Whoever's been watching this, I appreciate it. If you've made comments in live time on Twitter or Facebook or whatever the fuck, and you haven't seen your comment come up on the screen, it's probably because you have to click to the actual YouTube feed. And do me a favor while you're there, subscribe and like and all that horse shit that other people tell you to do. Um, you know, but you have to come over to the live feed on YouTube to make the comment. Sometimes that's what works. We were talking about Marvel movie Incredible Hulk is cursed, never made a correct film on it. Both were not good. I might disagree. I think the first one, did the first Incredible Hulk movie had Edward Norton? I remember, buddy, that they came out within 2 or 3 years of each other. And I thought the first one, which I think was it Edward Norton and Jennifer Connelly? Now you're going to have to make me Google, buddy. I'm going to have to look this up because those two movies, I am concerned. Uh, who uh, who was in it? Because I remember. Okay, the Incredible Hulk movies in order are the Incredible Hulk 2008, but this is not. Uh, Jesus, there's all these rabbit holes we're down, pal. How to watch the Incredible, uh, every Marvel Comic Universe appearance of Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner. Oh my God. 7 movies and 1 Disney Plus appearance. Okay, so that's Mark Ruffalo. But what about Edward Norton as Hulk? That's what I remember. What's going on with him, pal? Oh, why Mark Ruffalo replaced Edward Norton as the Incredible Hulk? And gee whiz, pal, now we're down the fucking rabbit hole. Uh, Edward Norton as Bruce Banner in 2008's The Incredible Hulk, but was eventually replaced by Mark Ruffalo in The Avengers. Here's why. Oh my God. Uh, so Ruffalo replaced him in 2012's The Adventures. Uh, my God. So why did Josh Whedon, I guess, was the director? Directed by Luis Leterrier, The Incredible Hulk wasn't as well received as its MCU predecessor, but considered an improvement from 2003's Hulk. So who was in the 2003 Hulk? Because I'm remembering that one. This is exciting. Who was in that one, buddy? 2003. So if it wasn't Edward Norton, if Norton and who am I thinking of? Stars Eric Banya, Jennifer Connelly. That's the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the 2003 one, which is not even who I thought I was thinking of. That was the Jennifer Connelly one. Uh, Gee whiz. Eric Banya. That's like one of those names that I know that he's famous. I can never, like, if you said, well, place Eric Banya's face, what the fuck would he look like? I don't know what this guy looks like. You know what I mean? Eric Banya. What does that look like? I know what Jack Nicholson looks like. I know what Robert De Niro looks like. But if you're saying, well, gee whiz, Mike, what does Eric Banya look like? I don't fucking know. How would I know? You know what I mean? Oh, he looks like every other asshole in the world. This guy's a movie star? I think I saw this guy on a fucking podcast the other day, and he was talking about horse shit. Like he was talking about how his therapist told him something, and I'm like, okay, another actor talking about his therapist. Okay, so this guy's been around. Uh, I mean, this guy's been in everything. Was this the guy? Was he in this movie that I saw tonight? Was Eric Banya in? What's the fucking movie I just saw? What's the movie I just saw, buddy? What's going on here? Uh, Madam Web. Is he in that? Was he the fucking Roberts guy? What? Goodness. Was Jesus Christ? Who? Madam Web cast. I mean, God. Now we're going. Because was Eric Banya in this movie? Was he the Peter Parker guy or the Ben Parker or whatever the fuck? Who played Ben Parker? Adam Scott. Now you tell me, buddy. Does Adam Scott look like Eric Banya? Do they look like the same fucking guy? The same guy. No, it's actors who look alike. IMDb. So Eric Banya and this Adam Scott individual, to me, look very similar. Am I wrong in saying that? Uh, so Corey looks just like Eric Banya. They're saying Corey Feldman looks like Eric Banya. I think this Eric Banya individual looks like Adam Scott. In any event, buddy, they're saying that Christopher Lambert looks like Thomas Jane. Gerard Depardieu looks like Ed O'Neill. I never saw that before, but now I can't not see it. Cillian Murphy looks like Tom Welling. I don't see that very well. Oh my God. Leela Sobieski looks like Helen Hunt. I don't know. I mean, we're pushing some limits here, folks. Erica Christensen looks like Julia Stiles, I guess. John Kerry looks like Fiona Shaw. That's a woman. That's not very nice. George W. Looks like Anthony LaPaglia. Yeah, he does. All right, I'll be here all night if I'm looking at this crap. Okay, buddy, let's get back to the topic at hand. Eric Banya as the Incredible Hulk. So I didn't even know that this Eric Banya guy played the Incredible Hulk. Uh, let's look at Eric Bana's fucking films. Now that we're on this Eric Bana fucking whatever the fuck. Uh, Munich. Yeah, I saw Munich. Okay. Black Hawk Down. The Time Traveler's Wife. I don't think I saw that. Maybe I did see that. I don't know. This is very disturbing, buddy. Hannah. Did I see Hannah? 2011. I don't think I saw that. Maybe I did. Star Trek. Didn't see. I don't think I saw that. Hulk. This is very. The other Bolian girl. My God. Finding Nemo. Well, I've been on the Finding Nemo ride. The Castle. Jesus, how many movies this guy been in? King Arthur. Romulus. Boy. Yeah, thanks for asking another question, buddy. Because I don't. This Eric Bana thing is disturbing me. I don't even know what this guy looks like. Yet I've seen him in 1,000 fucking movies. Mikey, did you like Quiet Place this summer? We get day one prequel, then part three next year. I did like the Quiet Place movies, buddy. I did both of them. I saw the first one, and then I saw the second one, and that's our buddy there. I mean, I think the guy, John or whatever the fuck from The Office. Credit to him, he grew a beard and he kind of reinvented himself as this horror film, franchise director and star. And I like both of those movies, buddy. So, I mean, one thing that you have to keep in mind for some of these, horror film franchises is if they have kids in the movie, the kids grow up so fast these days. So, I mean, if you are going to have a horror film with kids, then either you're going to have to recast the actors, the kid actors, or the characters have to age along with the actors who play them. Now, look, everybody gets older and so forth, but you know, I just guess I'm just interested because I did like The Quiet Place 1 and 2. I think I've done reviews of those movies on this thing, but I've enjoyed both of them tremendously. And I always cite when people say, "Well, gee whiz, Mike, what horror movies do you like now?" I say I like the Quiet Place movies and I like the Annabelle movies. Meaning the Conjuring universe. So I do like the Quiet Place. Sting will be scary. Mikey, man, eating giant spiders. Body look. Well, I think isn't that in Labyrinth, pal? So don't spoil me because I don't think I've seen that one. Okay. Are you talking about the wrestler Sting or the actor Sting? Which one? Labyrinth, is that David Bowie or the singer Sting? I guess I'm not sure if this is a reference to the big AEW thing or to the actor performer. Now, I did see Sting in concert once upon a time. Kind of a sob story there, which maybe I'll get into another time. But I have seen Sting in concert. I see that I think he's doing a tour with Billy Joel now. Okay, pal, new horror movie. All right. Well, look, folks, this has been great. I hope you've enjoyed my new hat. I enjoy this hat and so forth. I thought we had fun tonight. I saw a movie, we discussed it. The wrestling world, we kept at bay. I will go over and I'll go to YouTube and see if anything, if Cody Rhodes did something, or maybe he took a shit, or maybe Triple H blew his nose. So I'll see what those assholes are up to on the USA Network. If anything big and exciting happened, I'm sure people are discussing it and Twitter fucking it and everything else. But I had a good time at the movies. I thought Madam Web and Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweetie playing a schoolgirl and everything. I guess I would say that little coven of witches there, like the good witches, I think that's kind of exciting. Dark Side of the Ring, Vince McMahon, that will be something if they have the balls to do it. I mean, let's be honest. I think that Dark Side of the Ring is. I mean, they've gone out there a few times, but at some point, do they really want to take on the big man? Maybe they do. They'll probably make it as soon as he dies. Let's put it that way. As soon as Vince is actually dead, if he ever does die, those guys will probably ball up and make a Vince thing. Hey, look, we've known about Vince McMahon dirt for fucking years. Just no one but me and a few others have had the fucking balls Ryback to talk about it. But if you look at my history of videos, with Vince Russo, and even before I was on the Vince Russo thing, I was talking about Vince, mostly about creative and financial, but about the Saudi Arabian deals and everything else and his Donald Trump involvement. And all these assholes and critics criticized, and now they're just, they're eating the plate of dog shit that is the Cody Roman Reigns storyline. So I've been ahead of the curve. I remain ahead of the curve. Joey Ryan, I said everything. All the thumb in the ass wrestlers, I said everything. I pointed these things out, and the masses, for the most part, AJ, denied me my truth or denied the truth to themselves that I exposed. And you weren't like that, buddy. You were always in my corner, cheering me on. You and Shane McKenna and a few others. I will be on the gang is getting back together. Me and Angelo DeCipio, the other Mad Dog, and Amelia will be. I'll be on as a special guest with their podcast on Wednesday night, 6:45. Angelo and Amelia invited me to be on a Jeff the Ref tribute. Our friend who passed away the night that Chris Jericho lost his AEW title to Jon Moxley. That was 4 years ago. February 29th, I believe he passed away. 2020, right when the pandemic mania was starting to grow wild. Our buddy there, Jeff, passed away. Mikey, are you a fan of the movie Footloose? Oh, very nice question. I have seen the movie Footloose. I don't think I've ever seen it in a big screen environment. That's one of those movies that could probably, do well with a re-release. I don't know if it's been re-released on the big screen. I would go see that. I have seen it in the comfort of my own home. I do like it. I mean, there's a lot of 80s cliches in that movie, like, the hillbilly guy, kind of like, what's his dicks? Kevin Bacon's character has a big dumb friend who he has to teach how to dance. And, you have a lot of cliches in that movie, but I think that's the type of movie that invented some of those cliches. What's going on there, Carl? Good to see you in here, buddy. Carl and I'm doing fine. I went to see Madam Web. If you want to play the replay when this is over, Carl, we're about to wrap things up because we're heading to the 59-minute mark, and that's when I have to call these things. Yeah, good evening, pal. I know that Carl is in the not in Chicago, but within driving distance, an hour or an hour and a half away from Chicago. Carl, of course, is known for attending WrestleMania 22. One of my favorite WrestleManias, I think, just Triple H, John Cena, and Carl and I actually discussed that video or that show here. Actually not on this channel, Carl, on One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan channel. Carl and I also did a bunch of reviews of movies and so forth, and Carl had a list of some of his favorite. I think we did martial arts movies and horror movies. Brightburn is good film, deserved a sequel. I don't think I've seen Brightburn either, buddy. I know that there's something going on Amazon Prime now, Sunburn or something. That's kind of controversial. Some people like it, some people don't. Saltburn. It looked too much like other movies that I'd already seen, so I didn't go see it in the theater. But very interesting, very interesting. Yes, if you're interested in hearing about my take on the Elimination Chamber, I did have that video. Me and Gonzo did that a few nights ago over on One Pro Wrestling Sports Fan channel. Superman horror movie, is that happening? Are they making a horror movie with Superman? Like, is Superman the villain? Is he like the Frankenstein? I mean, I think that would be kind of interesting. I guess there's something going on with Mickey Mouse that he's entered the public domain, or to an extent or so forth. So, I mean, that type of stuff is interesting. Like, there's these iconic things, Superman, Marilyn Monroe, and so forth. Brightburn, look it up. Jesus, all these things I have to do. I mean, I'm still getting over the Eric Banya thing. Brightburn, what's going on with that? Okay, it's one word. Stars Elizabeth Banks. It's 2019. A young boy of extraterrestrial origin reared on Earth who discovers his superpowers using them in dark. Well, that sounds pretty interesting. Brightburn. Okay, very good, buddy. Very good. Like I said, the Hoopla. Hoopla is another app that, well, people are spoiling it, of course. I mean, I'm trying to fucking potentially watch this movie. Well, buddy, why don't you leave a comment here for your list of new two? Leave a comment when I wrap things up, Carl, because I have to wrap this up in the 59 minutes so I can replay the stream. But Carl, when I get off the air here, buddy, just list them in the comment section of this video, and then I'll get back to you and we'll set something up for a YouTube video. All right, Michael, AJ, Carl, everyone else, thanks for watching. Feel free to copy and share this URL, MikeMessier.com. Mike Messier, goodbye. Good night. Thanks for watching.